and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was our second one tonight, huh, Bob? That was our second pledge. Good evening, everyone. Before I ask for a moment of silence, I would just like to note that Mrs. Sifaretta Brayton is at a Panel 83 hearing out of town, and she's excused from this evening's meeting. I would like to ask that we observe a moment of silence for the following individuals. Janelle Cross, a very well-respected and loved teacher in the North Syracuse Central School District. Ariel Stone Mason, a 1944 graduate of North Syracuse Central School District. Marion Minor Day, a 1941 graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Louis G. Strutz, Jr., who attended schools in the North Syracuse Central School District. Patricia A. Ellison Stiles, a 1952 graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Sharon A. Stone, a substitute teacher in the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. Our first item is a presentation, the Adirondack and Marine Biology Field Camps. John Rice.
Good evening. I have several students in here with me tonight who accompany me to present about the programs. They are students who attended either the Adirondack or Marine Studies program. Sitting to my left right now are Kaylee and Nick, who attended the Adirondack camp, and I have 4 students with me who attended actually 5 students who attended the Marine Studies program who will also be presenting. What I'd like to do is give a brief overview of the program itself, and then I'll give the students an opportunity to speak a little bit about their most memorable experiences about the program. While they're speaking about the program, I'll provide an overview of a slideshow in which they presented some pictures for me. So to begin, first of all, the program has been in existence about 20 years, since the early 1990s. There's about 15 schools participating from our OCM BOCES consortium in the program, which runs every summer. The Adirondack camp is run at Cranberry Lake. The Marine Biology camp has been on Long Island for the last 15 years. Traditionally, each camp runs about 5 to 6 days. Students within the district can earn up to half a credit, a science credit, upon the completion of the program. That's a pass-fail grade for those students. Each program deals specifically with the unique habitat. The Adirondack program being on Cranberry Lake, and then the Adirondacks deals with both aquatic and terrestrial habitats, while the Marine Studies program deals with the salt environment on Long Island. Students who participate in a program must meet the following criteria in order to be accepted to the program. They must come highly recommended by their biology teacher and one other teacher. They must have completed biology or a similar course like AP Biology. With our accelerated program now, many students don't take living environment, but go into chemistry and then AP Biology. Students have to be identified as working well individually and in groups. They must demonstrate some enthusiasm towards science, and they know going in that they're going to be in remote environments, so it's essential that they enjoy those type of environments. The first camp was the Adirondack Field Studies Program camp that actually ran from July 1st through, I believe, July 7th or the 6th. It's a hands-on environmental program located on Cranberry Lake, and it's run by SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry, or ESF, out of Syracuse. Most of the professors that work at that site, again, not only work with high school students, but they work with college students. We also provide staff, or have provided staff in the past. Amy Heisick from the high school and Kim Linkenhoker have both worked that camp in the past. And students there are housed on the island, not on the island, but on biological station in cabins. Even though it's not an island, it's very remote. There's no roads, and in order to get to that, the students had to take a boat into the facility. The expectations of the Adirondack Field Experience is that students would work throughout the day on various excursions or in group projects. At night, they would come back to the dining hall and work to finish up projects that were started during the day. They would also work to develop a better understanding of the Adirondack Mountain along with Cranberry Lake aquatic areas. They participated in investigations and, again, followed up at night with that lab work. And there were 4 students who attended this past year. As I mentioned, Nick and Kaylee are here tonight. Hannah had a game in Port Byron, and Anthony left the district, actually. And I'm going to give Nick, I'll give you an opportunity to first speak about your most memorable moments of the camp. And while you're speaking about the camp, I'll run through a few slides for people to view.
All right. Well, Cranberry Lake is about 136 square miles of wilderness, which belongs to the Adirondacks. And the boat ride in was about 20 minutes to the far side of the lake, which, like we said, was completely remote. There's nothing in the area besides SUNY ESF's bio station. And the picture on the bottom right is actually where we attended our night classes to learn whatever was being discussed that night. We learned like ecology and dendrology, limnology, entomology, and a bunch of other different stuff. But basically, we had 2 sessions of classes, one in the beginning of the day, and then we had a break and lunch towards the middle of the day, and then we went back at the night. And by the end of the week, we were supposed to perform a project and present it in front of the professors and the grad students. And what my group and me ended up doing was a project on dendrology, which is the study of the trees. And we did the diversity of trees from the lake closest to the lake to as you get farther away from the lake.
Every day that we had to do our project, we would spend the whole day after breakfast going out and running our own tests using the equipment that they provided for us. And we would have to get supplies from the store, and we had to walk through the woods and down creeks and through mud just to get our tests that we had to do. For my project, we did the abundance of zooplankton, different kinds, and we had to go canoeing out on Cranberry Lake and go in with a net and do certain things with it so we could get zooplankton. And then we had to go to 3 other different locations, and one of them we stepped in a random pond in the middle of the woods, and it smelled really bad because of the sulfur, and we were standing in mud. But we passed the project with 100, and it was a really good experience.
Have any questions for Nick or Kaylee before I bring up the students who attended the Marine camp?
I just have one for both of them. How do you feel this experience will help you in your careers moving forward? Are both of you seniors? I know Nick is, but Kaylee, are you a senior?
I'm a junior.
Junior. How do you see this helping you as you move forward in life?
Well, when I got home, I was thinking a lot, and I decided that it really helped me decide where I want to go to college. So I really want to go to ESF now because I feel like I can get a lot out of it, and you can do so much with it. Whatever field you want.
Right now, I'm currently trying to apply to a bunch of different colleges for either wildlife biology or conservation biology, and SUNY ESF's at the top of my list. And the experience got me closer with the school and with the professors. And currently with Miss Lincoln Holker right now, I'm trying to get a group or a club started back up for the environment because that got cut.
So you slept in cabins?
Yeah.
Like little cabins?
It was.
That looks like a pretty nice one, that big
I
room.
wouldn't say they were nice. But
No. But the bathrooms were inside?
No.
yeah, the bathrooms had plumbing and everything. It was good.
No lean-to? That's not bad.
Yeah, the thing we slept in was about maybe half the size of that and had about like 9 or 8 bunk beds in there. There was like 5. We used 5 different houses. There was 4 for the girls and then one for us because of the ratio was so much different. But it was not 5-star living.
And you had like showers and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Congratulations.
I mentioned there's about 15 participating schools that take part in both the Marine and Adirondack programs. There's a limited number of slots or students that can attend. We have actually purchased slots for 9 students, and each year the ratio in which how many attend Marine camp or how many attend the Adirondack camp varies depending on our students' interests and when we apply. Sometimes we get locked out if we don't respond early enough. We may get locked out of a certain program. The next program I'm going to speak briefly about, there are 5 students that attended. They're all here tonight. If they could come up and join me. Some of you may have to. And I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves and talk briefly about their experience. The Marine Enrichment Camp is actually located on Long Island, about 2/3 way down the eastern shore in Riverhead. It's operated by Cornell Cooperative Extension, and the students can speak about their experience in terms of where they slept. It might have even been more of a rustic accommodation, especially for the young men. Students had an opportunity to visit many different marine habitats to collect various samples or to experience, again, different habitats within the marine environment. They were expected to participate in daily laboratory dissections and lectures, and I know one young man had a very memorable experience he'll be talking about. Students were expected to keep journals and keep notes on everything they did during the laboratory experience or their experience in the field. In addition to that, they also had an opportunity to go to Marine Museum as well as try their luck at fishing. They visited the Montauk Lighthouse, and they also were able to, during their day, spend some time on the beaches and relaxing. Again, the students who participated in the field camp, as you can see here, Newell, if you want to just introduce yourself, and I'll give them each an opportunity to talk about some of their most memorable moments, and as I go through a brief slideshow. Yes, that would help.
At the camp, we had a lot of activities, and the picture in the top left is our first day going out to the beach, and we used different tools to go fishing and just like collect marine life. We had clam rakes, and those were pretty cool. And then we would get goggles and we'd go down and catch sea turtles and collect mussels. And then there was these buckets. And you stuck them down in the water. You could see down, and it was really clear. And just like collected all that marine life and used the net that girl's holding in the far right picture. And we just like used that to dredge. We picked up a lot of other marine life. And we kept them all in buckets and brought them back to our campsite. And then on the left, we went fishing on like an old bridge that they like took down, and we caught sea bass and all different types of marine life. Oh, I'm Noah Field, by the way.
Well, for me, one of the most memorable. Okay. Well, I'm Jillian Machara. One of the most memorable things for me was just meeting all of the new people, and we went to this gorgeous lighthouse. It was probably one of the prettiest things I've ever seen. The view was phenomenal. It was the first lighthouse I've ever been to, and it's the furthest point west on Long Island you can go without hitting the ocean. And so I just thought the view was great, and all of the people, and I learned a lot about the marine life down there and about whaling and fishes, and there's just so much that I didn't realize about how simple the life is and everything.
All right, my name's Tyler Rice, and before going into this program, I've never been to Long Island, so kind of was going in there blind, not knowing what to expect. And when we first arrived, we went to our cabin, and our cabin was small. It had eight bunks in a room, and it was very rustic. It was just like camping out in the wilderness. We didn't have much. But and I didn't know how the week was going to go at first. But then as the days went on, it became a lot of fun. And here's Long Island Exhibition Center. And we did a dissection. We did a dissection on a sea lion. And I learned a lot. And here, go back. Here, we went to an aquarium. And we saw a lot of different wildlife that I haven't seen before. And we learned a lot about turtles and sharks and different kinds of fish.
Hi, I'm Liam McDonald, and I just wanted to talk about the necropsy, the dissection of the seal. For me, it was very memorable. I fainted, by the way.
Don't worry, I would have done the same thing. So you to know.
Hey, but no, it actually opened my mind up to a lot of different career ideas, because I realized I did like it. Like, obviously, I like cutting into the thing, and I liked figuring out different parts of it, because it's a mammal like us, and I figured out that I could be a doctor or someone that examines people and diagnoses them, because I really liked it. It was fun, aside from the fainting. And that was my most memorable experience for both of the reasons.
Does anyone have any questions for the students?
Mentioned that you hadn't been to Long Island and whatever. What surprised you about that?
Well, it surprised me. Like, I had an image in my mind of Long Island being filled with like nice houses and nice cars, but where we stayed, it was just very rustic and totally different. And it kind of brought a different image to my mind and showed me that like stereotypes are a lot different than what's actually there. So I liked it.
It's a lot bigger than what I thought it was my first time
Yeah,
there.
it's a big
an
place.
enormous place.
Did you how people say certain words?
Yeah, some people had different accents and stuff.
Yeah, a little dialect.
Go ahead, Noah.
Right here, we were dissecting the fish. Luckily, Liam could hold his own a little better with the fish than he did with the seal. And this is just like the cabin where we ate, and we did a bunch of homework every night. We had to write these journals, and that's how we got our grade at the end of the week. And the cabin shown here doesn't really portray the cabin that we stayed in. It was a little dirtier and smaller.
I just have a few for you, John. Where did the funding come for this program for our students to attend?
The we get BOCES aid on the program. The program itself costs just under $800 per student. What is not covered by BOCES aid, the students are responsible for paying. So it's approximately about $190 each year for the students. So each student paid $190 this past year.
And how are the students selected to attend these kind of programs?
Earlier there was
I'm
a
sorry.
slide with the criteria.
Okay.
They have to go around and get recommendations from their teachers. They have to meet certain criteria, fill out the paperwork, write a response, and then the teachers select them based upon how well they perform in the classroom and the criteria that I showed earlier in terms of their enthusiasm towards science, in terms of their willingness to participate in the classroom, be basically self-directed.
So basically, these students volunteered for this program, that they were so interested in it that they wanted to be
Most
part
of the
of it.
students, I'll let Jillian speak for her experience.
Okay. What if, like,
Why did you want to go out and choose?
oh,
You want to attend?
okay. Well, Marine, out of the two, my bio teacher last year was Mrs. Lincolnhoker, and so she was very adamant about talking about the different trips, and so she made them both sound really, really interesting, but I knew that I couldn't do both in the same year just because $190 for each trip. So I chose the Marine one because, A, it's Long Island, and I knew that we were going to be going to a lot of different beaches, and it's the summer, so I thought that would be really cool. And I always knew that maybe the next year I could always go on the Adirondack one because they both really interested in me. The funny thing is I'm not really going for a science major when I go to college, but the experience really helped me because I showed up not really knowing anybody on the trip. Like, I knew the guys from school, but we never really talked. So I showed up being the only girl from the school and not knowing anybody. So I had to make all new friends to room with. So it really helped me know how to talk to people that I didn't know and go out of my comfort zone to meet new friends.
Nice. Solid. Exactly.
Yep.
And they had a long 7.5 hour bus drive.
No, it was like 10. It was like 10.
Oh, it was longer. It was on a regular school bus. They were on a 90-some-odd degree day, so it was a very long trip.
Just from the beginning of Long Island to Montauk Point. It's about 2 hours. Yeah, right. 2.5 hours. And traffic can be a lot longer.
And if you get stuck on a bridge,
Again, I want to thank all the students for participating tonight and for providing some of the slides that you see. Again, thank you, everyone.
great job.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Hey, next up is the summer school report.
I'm just thinking of the juxtaposition of some students spending the summer in the Adirondacks or at Long Island, and then other students that would be with us in the classrooms in summer school. So I'm just going to give you a little breakdown of our 7 through 12 summer school results and enrollment. And we have had an increase in some areas, a decrease in other areas, so it's kind of an interesting thing to look at, although I'd much prefer to look at the lighthouses and the beach scenes, but that's okay. So here's a breakdown of the numbers 9 through 12 of students that were attending our summer school. And then you'll see down at the bottom, we have the totals. There were 501 students. It's quite a big number. 9 through 12 enrollments on the way up. Number of students failing 69, so our overall percent passing rate was 86. And I will show you a historical record in a little bit where you see that that's pretty consistent for summer school. And some areas, earth science, we had 100% passing. Economics, we only had 7 students, but all of them passed. ELA 12. So there were some areas that had very high pass rates. There were some areas that had lower rates. Seventh and eighth grade. Overall, we had 217 students that attended, 35 failed, which gives us a passing rate of 84%. And pretty good numbers, except for Math 8 would be our low point here. But, life science 100%, physical science 100%, so some relatively high results. What makes a student eligible for summer school?
Eligible for summer school, yeah.
I don't have it memorized, Sandy, but I think they cannot fail all 4 quarters. I believe it's 2 out of the 4. 2, okay. And I did have some phone calls from people, parents that were a little confused with that policy, although we do send some notices home. And, you know, there's the end of the year scurry when people are available, not available. So I did answer some of those phone calls myself, looking up a student's record and seeing that they had, you know, consistently failed all 4 marking periods would not make them eligible for summer school. The reason behind that is summer school is really only a 6-week program, and to try to make up an entire coursework in 6 weeks, you really need to not have failed all 4 quarters. You know, half is about the limit.
And don't they also need a minimum failing grade or a maximum failing grade? In other words, if you've got a 12,
oh, yeah.
You know, you could
Yeah,
not,
there is a cutoff number.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. 50?
50 or 55?
55. Thank you, Melissa. Okay.
And again, because it's 6 weeks.
Because it's only a 6-week program.
I just thought it would be a good idea to get that out there because a lot of people don't.
Very good. So to give you a little bit of the historical, and I just keep adding to the slide as I give this report every year, but in 2012 you see the 501 and the 86% pass, and for 7th and 8th grade, 217, 84% pass. We're up significantly. I don't have a reason for it, but in 2011 we only had 359 students go to summer school. We had an 87% pass rate, but, you know, we're about the same pass rate with a lot more kids, almost 150.
I know when Mr. Froyo was here, you know, he did everything to get students to go to summer school. So I don't know, Melissa, what it was that you might have done to get students, because this is a big increase. Mm-hmm. One of the concerns this board had, I believe, last year was the number of students attending summer
Versus
school.
the number that
could.
could.
Yeah, that could. It was been decreasing over the years, and all of a sudden it's increased. So there's obviously got to be a reason.
We've made a real concerted effort.
I know they've called them in the past.
Yeah, we continue to do that. We bring people in to make personal phone calls, because getting letters or, you know, leaving messages on answer machines, you know, is not always the best way to encourage families to have their students attend summer school. So we do try to make personal contact with people to encourage them to have kids come to summer school, because they remain on cohort that way.
Well, on a personal note, my student that I work with was going to not go to summer school, and when I came back I was surprised to see that he did go to summer school for 2 subjects to increase the grade in one and to pass another. So obviously you've done something, because I didn't work very well at it.
Well, that's good to hear. So overall, we've maintained our consistency, you know, with our summer school pass rates, which is good. Just a breakdown of no-shows. This is not a complete list. I think there are a few extras that I'm going to find out more about, you know, as we get the billing from BOCES. But you can see just some reasons why students didn't come. We did make those personal phone calls. We did send letters. Guidance counselors pulled students in at the end of the year. We did everything that we could to get them to come. And we had some subs come in, make the phone calls, and take notes. So, 12... you'll see 10 and 2 here. 12 were spoken to personally by someone where the parent said, yes, Johnny's coming to summer school, he'll be there, and 12 of them did not show up. And when you talk to those parents, I couldn't get out of bed. It was the parent's intent that the child come to summer school. It was unfortunately not the child's intent that they come to summer school. So we left messages. There were kids that weren't on the original list. There was one student that was incarcerated. Obviously not able to come to summer school. So there are a lot of different reasons for not coming. I want to give you a little bit about the August Regents exams. We had 183 students take a Regents exam through BOCES. 95% of those students passed, so the overall passing rate is 52%. That's relatively low for a Regents passing rate, but remember, these are students that did not do well, the first time around. So to pick up more than half of them the second time through is okay. Not great, but okay. I'm going to show you right now.
Okay. That wasn't my question, but I'll...
Okay. So these are by percent, not individual numbers. So half of the kids that took the English Regents in August passed it, 61% that took Earth Science passed it, and so on. So our lowest was global. And it was a killer of an exam in June, from what I hear from the teachers, and it was a difficult exam in August as well. Okay. Sandy, your question?
My question was, how do we compare across the state in terms of our passing rate? Because frankly, it's something that's concerned over the years, that better in terms of the Regents, at least, running our own summer school. A couple of years we did a comparison between our own indigenous staff and by BOCES, and we had a higher rate of passing for the kids who...
Are you talking about our own teachers that are employed by BOCES over the summer?
Yes, our own teachers.
Okay. Yeah, and I've done those breakdowns. It takes a little bit longer to get that information, but I can do that again and report back to the board.
Also, in terms of
students from both districts that are here taught, in the same manner. But I can get August Regents breakdowns. I don't know if I can get course breakdowns because those aren't reported as easily as the Regents is, but I'll give it a try.
I'm not as concerned with the courses.
Okay.
Wondering that when we have a Regents subject, I might want to take a look at the adults in order to instruction better. And we had talked when Stan was out doing some of it.
Well, I think I've reported to the board before, but I'll tell you again as well. I take all the June Regents results, I take all the students that fail them, and I figure out what questions and what standards performance indicators the students are lowest on. We're the only district that does that kind of data display. And then I give it to BOCES, who spends the first day of professional development discussing those results with the teachers so that they can tailor the curriculum for the weak areas of the students, because they only have 6 weeks, and it makes no sense for them to cover things that the kids have already got. So they can focus their curriculum on those weak areas. And I think that's why we have a relatively high, pass rate of 52%, on the Regents, because they can tailor those classes. Now, there are other students, other districts that are with us, but they're not able to provide the same data analysis. So really, we're tailor-making the courses to fit the needs of the North Syracuse students. Hopefully that suits the other kids as well. But it's a real quick data turnaround, and you really need somebody who understands how to churn through that in order to get it out. And Elena Renfrew has been phenomenal to work with in summer school to get that going. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay, we have comments from the audience this evening. The first is Tina Crowley. Use the microphone if you could, please.
Okay. Bear with me. Can you hear me okay? It's the first time we've addressed the board. My name is Tina Crowley. This is the first German phrase I learned, well, besides Gesundheit, since Thea, right here next to me, our exchange student from Germany, arrived 2 weeks ago. My husband Matt and I live in North Syracuse with our 4-year-old and 11-month-old. In just 2 short weeks, Thea has become part of our family. Excuse me. A big sister to my 2 young children and a daughter to me. She's currently attending Bishop Grimes, a private Catholic school, and she's very unhappy there and would very much like to go to an American public school, CNS. As a resident of North Syracuse, I'm disappointed that I have a school-age child living in our home being denied admission to a public school. We have been told that CNS already has 5 exchange students, and they won't accept any more than 5. I thought surely a school as large as CNS would take more than 5 students not even 0.2% of enrollment. Liverpool, a school district of similar size to CNS, has a policy allowing 12 exchange students, more than double that of CNS, and more than 12 may be permitted with the superintendent's approval. CNS has no such language providing the superintendent the flexibility to allow more than 5 students. Why? I would like to respectively request that the foreign exchange student policy be revised. What is the basis for the number 5? We've looked at other school districts trying to see if they would take her, but we live in North Syracuse and they won't accept a student who lives in another school district. We've exhausted all our options, which is why we are here asking you to please allow just one more exchange student this year. His only other option is to switch host families. And we would be truly heartbroken to see her leave us because she is that unhappy with her current school. She has a few words she'd like to say. If she can. You can? Okay.
Okay. So, every day is the same day. The bell rings, we stand up and pray. Every period is the same. It's not me, and it's not why I came to America. I wanted to get to know real American high schools with all pros and cons. I want to have the feeling of being proud and happy when I go to school. It really hurts when my other friends tell me how wonderful the exchange year is and that they like to go to school. I don't have that same feeling they do. Going to an American high school has always been my dream, and it was a really hard job to make it come true. Only once in a lifetime you get the chance to attend a different school in a different country. My only option is to attend CNS. If not, I have to switch host families. I'm very unhappy with my current school. My host family has taken me to CNS to walk the halls, and I very much want to go there. I beg you, I'm here in America, and I don't want to switch host families to go to a public school. Please, won't you let me go to your school?
The district's values state respect for diversity, embracing students of all abilities, talents, and backgrounds, and collaboration, working to rethink the boundaries of what is possible. The only reason Taya is not enrolled in CNS right now is because of her background. Let's embrace her background and work together and rethink the possibilities here. Thank you for your consideration.
Shop?
Marcia Shop. My daughter is Anna Shop. Some of you may remember her. She was at the board meeting on June 8th of you and asked for your protection and to keep her safe. Your response was, "We'll get back to you, Anna." No one got back to her. You let her down. Still waiting for someone to get back to her. My daughter was brutally assaulted in her classroom on June 14th. I was not there, but tonight I speak for my child. I heard her voice through the tears, through the fear, and through the nightmares. I've read countless eyewitness statements in the police report and the statement of the assailant, who has admitted to everything. The assailant's mother also admitted to giving her child permission to beat my child minutes before the attack on her cell phone. When the sheriff explained this to me, there was almost a sense of pride in their words when they said they'd do it again if they could. I want you to know what my daughter Anna went through that day and what she goes through today. On that Thursday, she decided to stand up for her friend who was being bullied, something that sadly she will never do again. After a brief exchange of words while sitting at a table in her art class, this other student charged Anna from the outside of the room, grabbed her by the hair, and forcefully pulled her body to the ground, hitting her head on the table, proceeded to bash her head into the hard floor several times. Anna did not fight back. She just tried to break free. The girl punched Anna all over her body while her peers watched. At some point, she felt the girl being lifted off of her and held back by a teacher. Anna, dazed in shock, heard one thing: the voice of the attacker saying, "Let me go," and the teacher let her go. Suddenly, she was being pulled by the hair, and her body was being dragged around the room. Clumps of Anna's hair scattered everywhere. This is what runs through my head every day. Visualizing what my baby went through. The principal even made a point to tell us that at the end of the day, he went back to the scene and had to clean up all of her hair. Suddenly, what was once just a class, her art class, a place Anna enjoyed and expressed herself, was now a nightmare. June 14th happened, and our lives are forever changed. Sheriff's recommendation to the superintendent was to have the attacker expelled from the district. When I asked the superintendent about this, her response, and I quote, "I don't have to do anything that the sheriff recommends." She also said, "The next time this student does something like this, there will be a harsher punishment." I pray to God that there is not a next time. I also find it inexcusable that the superintendent refuses to do more to protect the next victim. This student was a member of our district for 3 whole weeks before this occurred and was bullying students that entire time. We are protecting the attacker and punishing the victim. This student is apparently due to come back to school in November. Anna does not even know the attacker's name. She's not allowed to know the name of her attacker. She lives in fear. She can't sleep at night. She has panic attacks. She has to be medicated. If her attacker is allowed back in school, she does not find it emotionally or mentally possible to be confined within the walls of a school where she could come face to face with a person who bashed her head into the ground and took away her sense of calm and safety. Once again, the victim being punished. Anna is in all honors and accelerated classes. Before this happened, she had spent 6 years being a gymnast with her best event, the beam. She is now unable to walk a beam due to lack of balance. For as long as I can remember, Anna wanted to join the junior high color guard and follow in my footsteps. She has made it to the time to sign up, and as much as it pains me, I had to tell her no. With her injury, it is not safe. Anna is a patient at the concussion clinic at Upstate. She has to leave school twice weekly for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and mental health counseling. She has been diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome, cognitive deficits, visual disturbances, severe headaches, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Over the past month, I have received reports from her doctors with what they call Anna's problem list. I've compiled a list from 2 visits. This list includes dizziness, fatigue, insomnia, panic attacks, poor concentration, vertigo, dynamic postural impairment, decreased endurance, vision deficits, static impairment, impaired balance, gaze stability impairment, inability to participate in sports and exercise, photophobia, difficulty focusing, difficulty with short-term memory, difficulty recalling conversations, anxiety in crowds, educational status decrease, pain, right arm weakness, headaches. This was from 2 of her visits. Many times she comes home from her therapy, looks at me and says, "Mommy, I failed again." With a broken heart, I tell her she is nothing less than a survivor. She wants to feel safe in her school. You are allowing this child who attacked her. She will not be able to come back to the school. Your decision to make. You to make this decision. My daughter, who was given everything to be in honors classes, do all of this forward and not able to take these courses anymore. And she no longer has this ability has sorry. If this occurred in your place of work and a coworker violently attacked you in this way, would you feel it acceptable for your boss to give that coworker a little time off? Coworker back? Coworker on a daily basis? Would that be okay? It wouldn't. None of you would do that.
Debbie Elderbroom.
My name is Debbie Elderbroom. I was the president of the Softball Booster Club from 2001 to 2003, as well as a district resident and a taxpayer. I am deeply saddened by your actions of the last several months as it pertains to not renewing the contract of Carrie Bennett as varsity softball coach. You say the community is free to come and speak, though you are not willing to be open-minded enough to actually listen and hear what is presented. This sends a dangerous message to the community that the district doesn't really care about the people they are elected to represent. The thing is that you allow someone to speak and fabricate a story, but the worst part, that is, you did not allow the accused to defend himself. Again, you send the wrong message to the students you educate, as well as your employees, along with the community that elects and pays your salaries. You'll find an incomplete investigation was completed, and the decision you made is not renewing contract was wrong and the incorrect decision.
Thank you. Okay. We have gotten out the committee assignments, which are there any comments? Guys, comments? No. Okay. Yes, why don't we take a 5-minute break so all the PIG students come on up and we'll sign your forms for you.
You can go to anybody around the table.
Anyone around.
And I'm a student of Douglas. Is that okay?
How you doing?
All right, thank you. Maybe. Okay.
Baseball?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll do that as the first order of business. How you doing?
How you doing? Can your pen?
How you pen?
Pen or pencil?
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah. I switched into the class
Right
like
there?
that. Sure.
Yep.
Oops. Thank you. You're welcome. Sorry.
No?
Now just remember, had
Good
I
teacher.
not told teacher from you all was still
No. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You missed the girl from?
Getting it out of the way early this year,
You're
huh?
welcome. Have a good evening.
All right, good luck. Good luck with that.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
There you go. Thank you. You too.
Need a signature?
Or whatever, email me, text me, whatever.
Have a good evening, Corey.
You're welcome.
Mean you get to go home, Robert?
How you doing?
Does it mean you get to go home now? Pretty soon, right?
Yeah. You're welcome.
Who is that child and where do I know her?
You don't? You're welcome.
Do you need me? Do you want me to sign?
Thanks for coming.
I didn't realize.
Hi.
Mr. Goldwater.
Got the whole notebook and all. Taking good notes? Sure. The approval?
It's back up.
Contact person?
Good.
So they can read my signature? There you go. I can do that, sure. Thank you.
I can't even tell. You did such a great job. I was in such a hurry this morning to go somewhere. I looked at it.
I did a nice job. Yeah, Tony does a nice job.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Did you check? That's not as big. Did you have that last
You're
time?
popular.
You never respond. Because a friend of mine got this, and I go, hey. I said, who are you doing? Yeah. And he said, no, I didn't know it was on. Yeah, what he said,
We can do that.
I would think you do, right? I have to write my name.
Absolutely.
So those numbers are pressed, they're coming early.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good thing.
There you go. All right.
Two of them, right? Well, that's a good thing because who wants to go on a nice summer run?
Oh, you mean right now? Only board members.
He's getting a special gift.
We don't even have that. Oh.
I almost gave it to you, but
You're welcome. Let me go talk to this.
Go ahead. We'll take a couple minutes.
What's the situation with the network's just down? I don't know. Try it again. Okay, I mean. Did you get on? You did?
I just kept trying.
Presidential touch.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
I'll buy you lunch.
Okay.
Got nothing.
Find out that I can't get iOS 6 on my other iPad. The iPad 1? Yeah. I can't get it. I know. The original iPad came with the newest operating software for the iOS 6. So I spent like a day trying to, I kept trying to download it. I plugged it in last night, and I go, I'm going to make this happen. And I'm like, you can't.
I know.
Oh, that's right.
Keep it blank.
Yeah,
Keep the words blank and take care of it.
Oh,
okay.
Getting ready to.
I already had it written.
Oh.
No, I wrote the name and stuff, not the amount.
Oh, I thought you said just make it.
Before we take up our routine action items, did everyone read or get the email on the committee assignments? No? No. Then we'll do it next week.
I don't think I got it.
No, they didn't have. Okay, it's on board docs, but we'll take care of it next week. All right. Are there any questions or discussion on personnel items, or not? Excuse me, on routine action items A, B, and C?
Yep, Mr.
Take Ms. Brewer.
And I apologize to Connie Gibson, but in the comments I made last time, I said something about you have down here about Jackie Rashid, the RES staff. They're a wonderful staff, but my comment was about kindergarten orientation. Jackie was here. I asked her to go back and talk to all the elementary principals and to thank them for doing an awesome job with the kindergarten orientation. That was my comment.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll do the We'll have it as an item next week for the committee. Any discussion or questions on routine action items A, B, and C? Take them as a group. Mrs. DiBianco, second. George. Recommended action is to approve A, B, and C as submitted. All in favor? That's unanimous. Discussion action items. Item A, Annette.
Item A is the recommendation to create an additional .2 physical education teacher at the high school. That would be combined with an existing .8, resulting in the recall of an individual to a full-time position, and also an additional .4 part-time position that will be assigned to the junior high school and KWS Bear Road Elementary School. The elementary school portion is for adaptive phys ed. Due to enrollment increases in the way that class sizes worked out and contractual restrictions, it's necessary for us to add this staff.
Why don't you discuss B and C also, and then we'll
Sure.
take them.
Item B is the recommendation to create a school bus driver position along with one school bus attendant position. The Transportation Department kind of waited a couple of weeks into it to see if things could be rerouted. That was not able to happen. We need to add on this run. And item C is the recommendation to establish a per diem substitute athletic trainer. We know that Bill Brown is available to work as a substitute only on occasions when our existing trainers are out for some reason.
On item A, are there any questions or discussion on that item? Okay, the recommended action is to approve item A as submitted. Do I have a motion? Michael, second. Bob, all in favor? That's unanimous. Item B, the recommendation to create the bus driver and the attendant. Are there any questions or discussion? Recommended action is to approve that as submitted. Motion. D'Onofrio, second. Pat Svoboda, all in favor? Also, and the recommendation to establish the per diem substitute athletic trainer. Any questions? George, second. Pat, all in favor? Item D is the acknowledgement of a gift. We would like to, as we do in these situations, to thank the folks in the community, both corporately, individually, that donate things, and school district. It helps us to get things, the things that we need to get done for our students, that the shortfalls in our budgetary process and money help us to do. Gifts are Susanna Cook, a teacher at Roxborough Road Middle School, received a donation from the Donors Choose Org, a nonprofit organization. The donation is supplies including binders and colored paper, totaling a value of approximately $110. Renee McCall, a teacher at CNS High School, has donated a primer rider exercise machine to the CNS APE department. The retail value is approximately $115. The Cicero North Syracuse Track Booster Club is donating $3,240 for new uniforms for boys cross country, boys indoor, and boys outdoor track teams. The district will be paying the other $3,000 for these uniforms. Recommended action is to accept with gratitude the gifts as outlined above. Michael, second. Sandy, that's Michael Marizion. Second, Sandy, all in favor? And that's unanimous also. Item E is a tax surcharge resolution. Don, did you just want to outline that quickly?
Sure. So we're represented at any time someone disputes one of two terms. Where they resolve the dispute.
one of the things, one of the items in the audit committee meeting that we had, which they'll outline a little bit at the next. Auditors felt that our certiorari reserve was a little bit light. We know we've been kind of managing that very tightly, so any kind of anticipate potential certiorari's, and it seems that everyone wants their assessment reduced. So it seems though that the resolutions are a little bit more palatable. In the past, we used to not only have to change and agree to change the assessment, but give back money and refunds. And the last couple of them, fortunately, we haven't had to do that. Recommended board action is to approve the above resolution as submitted. Second, Michael D'Onofrio, all in favor? And that's unanimous also. Item F is the bond resolution authorizing the amendment, restructuring, and restating of certain energy performance contracts. Questions on that? Discussion? The action is to approve that item as submitted. Motion? Second, Pat Swoboda, all in favor? Did we need an executive session before we take up personnel items A and B? No? Can I have a motion to take them as a group? Michael first, Sandy second. Recommended action is to approve A and acknowledge B as submitted. All in favor? That's unanimous also. I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session for the purpose of hearing an appeal of a superintendent's decision relative to 2 individuals, to receive an update on 3 legal matters relative to potential litigation, to receive an update on negotiations with 6 district bargaining units, and to review the employment record of 2 individuals with action to follow on 1 district contractual matter.
Before we vote on that, I apologize.
That's
There's
okay.
one thing I didn't bring up.
Sure.
November 5th is the day before the presidential election. We have a meeting here. We aren't going to have it here. Okay. All right, thank you. I apologize, but I want to make sure that was done. I apologize.
Acknowledge or approve A and acknowledge B. All in favor? Or excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm going back. Sorry, Bob. I made a motion to move into executive session. Do I have a second? Pat, all in favor? That's unanimous, and we're adjourned.